All right. Well, I built some bots. So let's talk to one of them. This again is a tool that is designed for sales reps to be able to talk to their prospects and practice their messaging. You can do cold calls, warm calls, discovery calls, renewals, all sorts of different things. I've built a couple of these as trials just to play around with. I created recently a vice president of sales who's got sales concerns. I've got to figure out what those concerns are. This is going to be billed under a warm call. So this was somebody who I think I designed this that he commented on one of my LinkedIn posts and we had a back and forth via LinkedIn. So that's how he knows me. I haven't set this call up, but I'm going to call him and see if I can get a conversation to further qualify what's going on. I'm going to call the less rude one. We can make him more rude later. Maybe we'll save that for another demo. But why don't we call the nice guy first? Um, Typically, the reps will start with easier, and then we'll get them more advanced conversations as they feel more confident.
Hello, who is this?
Samuel, it's Kyle Hagerty calling. You had a dialogue with me on LinkedIn a few days ago, if you remember.
Oh, right. I remember. I saw your posts and read your book. It was quite entertaining.
You read my book. What did you think of it?
Yeah, I thought it was funny and entertaining. It had some good insights too.
Out of curiosity, I know we're talking about your sales team here, but or we're going to. But what insights did you take away from the book?
Well, I like the part about adapting to different business cultures and the importance of understanding local nuances. It was a good reminder of how diverse the business world can be.
Sounds good. Well, if we ever meet up, I will sign your copy. So be worth money someday.
Ha ha ha, sure. So you what do you want to talk about today?
Okay. So you had mentioned in our discussion that sales team development was really important, and that you had some issues in the past with that. And I wanted to just understand what's going on with your sales team this year.
Well, it's been a bit rough. Only 2 reps hit their targets last year, and that's a big concern. Turnover has been high, and the onboarding training isn't effective.
Okay, sounds like a couple of different issues. Two reps hit their numbers out of how many?
Out of 25 reps,
Ooh, okay, that's a pretty low rate. Has it been that way for a number of years, or is that getting worse?
it's been getting worse over the past few years.
Okay, so you've got a very few people hitting their targets. You also said then, secondly, about staff turnover being high. What are those numbers looking like?
We've had about 30% turnover in the past year.
That must be time consuming, and probably also feeds into the fact that people aren't getting to their numbers if you've got people going through a revolving door so frequently.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge. Finding and onboarding new salespeople is costly and time consuming.
You also said that onboarding wasn't really going very well. Could you elaborate on that?
The training provided during onboarding just doesn't seem to stick. Reps forget the material quickly and it doesn't have a lasting impact.
Yeah, it's common, right? So a rep comes in, they get 2 weeks, sometimes three or more of just constant information. They forget 80+% of it right off the bat. So that's a common challenge that companies face.
Yeah, exactly. And it's frustrating because we've invested in training before, but the impact just dwindles over time.
I agree. One-off trainings tend to get people fired up in the short term. They come out, hopefully, they get a little bit of bump in terms of performance, but oftentimes they fall back to old behaviors, which is why I think reinforcement is really important. Have you done any follow-up reinforcement work?
Not really. We haven't done much in terms of follow up reinforcement.
One of the tools that I'm using is this tool called Hyperbound, which essentially creates prospects that your sales reps can interact with and have a back and forth conversation and practice the new tools that they've been given during sales trainings. Would that be of interest to look into in more detail?
Maybe. I need to see how it aligns with our needs and if it can actually make a lasting impact.
No, that makes sense. What we find is that reps who end up using this a couple minutes a day just to be able to practice specific pieces of a conversation are able to improve their confidence and their ability to get new leads, to convert those deals, and to ultimately win more business.
All right. That sounds interesting. But I'm still concerned about the cost and justifying it to HQ.
Sure. Well, it sounds like there's some significant costs already being accrued by the high turnover and the low rates of hitting targets. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I would think that using a revised training approach that includes that ongoing reinforcement would pay for itself within a couple of weeks based on the performance from the last year.
Possibly. But I'd need more details and maybe a demo to really understand how it works.
Sure. So look, I called you out of the blue, and what would make more sense in that case would be just to set up a follow up call next week. I can run you through a demo. I can get more information from your side as well, just to understand specifically what you might be looking for. Would that work?
Yeah, that works. Let's set up a call for next week.
Just before I let you go, is there anybody else involved in this that would make sense bringing them into that call?
No, it's just me for now.
You're the guy. All right. Well, look, I'll get that booked, and we will chat next week then.
All right, sounds good.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks, Samuel. All right. Uh, Probably not the prettiest thing, but it's always funny to hear the research that's being done through the bots, right? Because I didn't mention, I told them to look up my LinkedIn profile, so they must have taken information from that. What you're looking at here is a review of the call. So you get the recording, you get the transcript, and then there's a scorecard. Now, I haven't built this or customized this yet, but this scorecard can be customized for anything. So if you're already using a sales methodology, if you're using Medic, MedPick, Challenger, and any of these things, we can just bake this into the scorecard and it will measure against those metrics that it's looking to hear. So in this case, give me 33 out of 100, not a very good score, but it's going to tell me why. So in this case, closing, did the seller qualify out or in effectively? It says I did not. You can click on this button and it'll give you a detailed feedback. Here's what you did. Here's what you could have done. I'm not going to read this verbatim, but you just get a sense of how thorough this thing is in its feedback. So I'll leave it at this for now. If you want to talk more about this, reach out to me. If you want a bot built for your prospecting, I'm happy to do that. So reach out and we can get that going. Thanks and have a good one.